Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Catering Cage. The lights are on, the crowd is roaring, and the industry's toughest questions are stepping into the ring. So strap in, because the bell is about to ring.
All right, here we are. We are live for another exciting episode over at the Catering Cage. Today, I'm very excited to introduce you to Claudie Newman. And she is joining us from where? Where are you coming from?
From Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. And Claudie is here with us to share with her tips and secrets and all the exciting things that's happening, insights, philosophies, strategies. What we do here, Claudie, on the Catering Cage, as you may or may not know, I don't know if you listen to the show, it's okay if you don't, but the people that do listen tell me what they really enjoy is the deep insights that we can share with them in terms of everything that there is to do with catering. Today, we're going to focus on catering sales leadership. Let's talk about relationship management and building a revenue engine. So before we do, Claudie, just give us the highlights. Tell us about your background. How did you land here? And what are you doing now?
How did I land here? So I have been in the industry for about 25 years. I've been in private events. I've been in private dining. I've been in catering. So I've kind of run the gamut from, being the on-premise guru for 1,000 people down to, doing a fantastic catering going out to 10. So it's been quite the experience. I've had the opportunity to work in Las Vegas, San Francisco, and DC, and New York. So it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah. And so do you have experience both on the business to consumer side as well as the business to business side?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's dive in there a little bit. I think that to me is a very interesting conversation. And I'm curious about it because you're over at Founders Table Restaurant Group now, right?
Correct.
And the brands what brands do they have under management?
So we have two brands. We have Chop Creative Salad Company, and we have Dos Toros.
Okay.
So completely different concepts. Obviously, one is a fantastic salad company. We have a much wider spread across the country. Dos Toros, it's fast casual Mexican. It's fantastic, but we're New York and DC only.
Okay. And so question for you. So when it comes to running your catering organization, do you manage both brands under one umbrella? Okay. So you can take orders for either brand at any given day?
Absolutely. That for us is really, I'd say probably one of our secret weapons is we can really, not steal customers from each other, but we can help customers across the two brands, which is pretty amazing.
Right. And are you promoting catering under each brand separately, or do you have a central idea?
So we promote separately on the public facing side, but on the operational side and on the sales side, we're more of a united front.
Okay, let's hear about that. So tell us, how big is your team?
So I have 2 sales managers and 3 coordinators now.
Okay.
It's a very good setup. My sales team are remote. My coordinators, one is here with me in DC and the other 2 in our New York office.
Okay, and you're driving first-party transactions, first-party relationships, you're knocking on doors. What other kind of things are you doing?
We're doing it all. So we do a ton of tastings.
Yep.
We do a lot of in-person connections. Yep. I'm probably a little bit more old school in my approach. And my team is the same way. We really believe in talking to our customers. It's not just about the 300 emails that are generated by a computer that may or may not give you business. Yep. We follow up. We really focus on our high-value customers. And we make sure that we're servicing them in every aspect we can.
Amazing. Well, catering is a relationship-based business. I love what you just said, because I do see a lot of organizations where they're literally just, pumping emails there's just so much automation, especially with AI that's coming in. And they just throw out as much as they can and whatever sticks, and that's it, right?
Exactly. I feel like it's the cast a wider net scenario that people go with.
Yeah, right.
Which is amazing. But if you really speak to your customers, you really understand what they're looking for.
Right.
And you don't know, who else in there. You may have a customer who you think is a $200 a month order, but the truth is she sits next to somebody who's spending $5,000 a month.
Right.
So
And
when you talk to them, you really get a feel for the business, for their needs. And
right.
that's something, we focus on. What are the food needs? It's not what are your
Okay.
catering needs.
Okay. So let's talk about that, because that's a sales system, right? That's a
Yep.
system. You've systemized that process.
Absolutely.
I would call it the probing is what you're doing in that process, right? Can you tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So typically what we'll do is, obviously we have online orders that come in all the time. So we really look at anyone who's done a first time order with us, and we take a look at all those orders every month. Then we say, okay, let's give them a call. Let's talk through. Obviously we want to qualify by their spend.
Yeah.
And we pick up the phone and we start calling. What did you love about the order? I know it was your first time. What brought you to us? So we're qualifying our customers. On the flip side of that, we are also looking at all of our lapsed customers. And we really look at the high volume and high value customers as our VIP list. So we're making sure we're always touching on what they need. And making sure people come and go. If somebody's left, who's the new person? How do we ingratiate ourselves in their world?
How do you find the people that have left? Are you able to do that?
We are. So what we typically do is we use Apollo. So we use the search software. We spend a ton of time on LinkedIn. We do a lot of research. And the nice part is when you get somebody's bounce back that they're no longer with the company, that's your opportunity to really jump back.
I've dreamed of some next generation technology for that for a long time.
Oh, I'd like to hear more about that.
Because I experienced, like you experienced, I mean, there's a lot of attrition, right? There's a lot of, and as you know, 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers.
Yep.
Right. So,
absolutely.
I mean, I love what you're saying, because, what you're saying is saying, look, talk to your customers. Let's look after the ones we know that are really high value.
Yes.
And let's spend time with them. And that works because, a catering customer like that could be a $25,000 a year spend with the brand, right?
Absolutely. And I think once you identify those folks, you also you're able to go back to your operators, and you're able to say to your operators, this is why this person is a valuable customer. This is why execution has to be 100% accurate for this person. Obviously it should be accurate for everybody, but we want to make sure we really flag our big fish.
Like, to me, there's sales and then there's marketing. And I feel like they're very different things, and people get very confused by that.
Yes.
And so to me, like automating emails, sending out drip campaigns, all that it feels to me like that's all marketing. Those are not sales driven activities.
No.
But what you're doing, which is reaching out, shaking hands, having meetings, asking questions, getting solutions to problems, that is sales, right?
Absolutely. Look, a strong client relationship is going to build trust.
Yeah.
If you build trust, you bring repeat business, you bring referrals. It's an all-inclusive scenario if you're building relationships.
Right. So would you say that at this point, like within the context of Founders Table, that's like part of the culture now, or what do you think?
So I would say it is. It's interesting because, obviously our marketing team is keeping our brands top of mind, looking for new opportunities, they're great. And together, I believe that, between marketing and sales, it's really the foundation for us to bring in the sustainable long-term growth that we're looking for.
Right. And so what about at the store level? Like, what kind of activities are happening there?
Okay. So the store level is interesting. If it was up to me, I would have a representative in every store, and I'd be pushing catering all the time. But in the real world, we don't have that opportunity. So on the store level, there are basic tactics that, they're proven. We've done them for years. Everyone does them. Catering menus are in your restaurant. Always having a salesperson's business card available in a restaurant. So if somebody has a question, somebody who is maybe not as knowledgeable won't get caught short. So that's a big piece of it. The other piece of it is I really work with our teams to say, your clients are walking in. You have to be able to identify them. So if somebody walks in scrubs,
Yep.
They work for a medical office. They work for a hospital.
Yeah.
Talk to them. Ask them where
Of
they
course.
work. See if there's a need for catering. So we really try and have this conversation, all the time with our operators. But it is one of those. It is case by case dependent. There are some locations where you're not going to see it happen.
But let's drill into that a little, because
Yes.
without throwing anyone under the bus. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm talking like this is a general theme that I'm seeing across the industry. Okay.
Okay.
And it's unique to restaurants because restaurants have a unique challenge when it comes to catering, because it's the core business is I'm a restaurant, right? So
absolutely,
right, and so you've got these like cross-functional areas that are competing for resources and competing for time, competing for energy. And so what happens is when you get into the weeds and you get into the store, so much of it is dependent on the people in that store in terms of what their preferences are.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's why you have pockets where some stores it works and some it doesn't, because the culture of that store is where potentially the challenge is. Okay. And that's directly connected to the culture being driven by leadership. Okay. Through the C-suite. Okay. And I find this fascinating because my next question always is like, so what amount of system sales does catering equal? Like, so how much of the sales of Founders Table, for example, are catering? 10%?
So I'll say it's interesting. It's different between the two brands.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would say, Dos Toros, we probably had anywhere from, 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
Depending, you have an occasion like Cinco de Mayo and we dominate on the sales side. With Chopped, it varies. And Chopped is an emerging catering brand. So Chopped always did catering, but they didn't have necessarily a sales team driving catering. Mm-hmm. So we are seeing so much more demand. We're seeing so much just great response from the public as we build. We have a long way to go, though.
Yeah. So what percentage of sales is
right now? We're probably under 7%.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is interesting, but I just want to say one thing that you'd said earlier, just as far as on the store level.
Yeah.
I will tell you my experience with both of our brands is very interesting. They run completely separately. It's a different culture in both. But what I really see with them is our restaurants that do catering all the time, multiple orders a week, multiple orders a day. Those are the restaurants that understand the formula that, sales makes everything better. The restaurants that, just might geographically not be as, viable for catering, or they might be a little bit more rural or a little bit more suburban. Those are the locations. It's harder to build sales internally with the restaurant team because they're not used to seeing a $3,000 order come in, a $2,000 order come in. Yeah,
no, those are good points. I think you have to look at the geography, and I think like when it comes to generating catering sales, I mean that's a lot of why, Easy Cater has won a lot of business because of that. If you have a store system where you have like 50 restaurants, and 25 of them are great catering restaurants, 25 of them are okay, then you can get Easy Cater. Easy Cater can send orders to those restaurants, to bring some additional business there.
Absolutely.
while you focus on the core. But to me, the whole thing, Claudie, is, and I don't know if you agree or disagree, but if at this point in history, after all these years and these brands, let's take Dos Toros, that's Mexican brand, 10 to 15% system sales, roughly, more or less. So the real question to me is, how do you get to 50? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I see 50. I go into places where I see brands, I see units that have 50% of their business is catering. I see it all the time.
But on the flip side of that, I will tell you the danger of being 50% of the business.
Yeah.
If a customer doesn't come back, if a giant group doesn't repeat, it's a deficit to each restaurant when that customer doesn't come back. So that is finding that balance where I would say you can't be too dependent on your catering,
Yeah.
because when that happens, you're dead in the water if they
But
don't
but
show up
the
or
thing
there's
is,
something.
if I take, this is future focused, okay?
Yes,
Like we know the off-prem business is growing, okay? We know that all the channels are growing. That is changing the dynamics on the operations, okay?
yes,
Because there's all this, the workflow is completely different. So even the technology stack that's there, okay, doesn't serve the growth of that market. It's a whole conversation, okay? Like we
I was
could
going
go
to
on for
say,
days.
this podcast will be going on through Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. We could talk a long time about that. So there's this true omni-channel environment, and what's happening in that process is restaurants are being relegated into what are food manufacturers, which they've always faced, which is I've always had wholesale, retail, I've always had these things. And so, I think restaurants are facing that same problem. I believe that the catering business, certainly in the B2B space, is still in its infancy. So when I look at a brand or a restaurant, uh, especially in an urban market, that catering should be 35% plus of that. It doesn't make any sense, because your customers are all around you. And much of the things that you're doing is the reason why you're having success, right? You're knocking on doors, you're doing tastings, you're investing in the process. But the point I want to make is this: if we know that by having Claudie and her team of 5, right?
Yeah.
We know that we've been able to get to 10 to 15%. Okay. If we're able to extend the effort of training, just training, and imagine we go into a restaurant and we really teach someone in that restaurant who's on shift how to sell, okay? How to handle objections, how to like sales skills, right? Or at least what's the
Absolutely.
procedure? What's the procedure? The procedure is go get the client, qualify them, ask probing questions. If they're qualified, get their information, give it to Claudie, even that process, right?
That's the ideal world.
Yeah, right. And so if you were able to tune up one ambassador in each location, and all they had to do during the power hour, which is the time when you guys get slammed, right, for lunch, right? That's the time, right? And so if you freed up a resource and train that resource to prospect that population that's in the restaurant,
So,
okay, and you,
your point is 100% correct, because when we do new store openings, you know,
yes,
I am a crazy person. I will stand and walk the line and talk to people, welcome them in, and ask them if they do catering.
yeah, of course,
I
of
love
course,
it. Like, for me, it's like the best leads I could possibly get on a new store
yeah,
opening. And it's fun. That is,
yeah,
everybody's hyped up. Everyone's excited about you. It's a golden opportunity. And you're right.
right,
That's the perfect training ground to have
okay.
somebody on the restaurant to learn that.
Well, so that is trainable. That is by design, okay? And what's important in the process is the data you collect and then the action you take on that data, which you already know. It's basically calling, prospecting, setting tastings. And if you multiply all those activities, okay, that in fact, your system sales are going to become 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And the
That's the
profit,
goal.
right? And the profitability of that restaurant is going to go through the roof, right? Okay. So I'm always like, and that's why sort of in this new generation of what we're doing with Cater Linked and, the Off-Premises Growth Academy, which we're doing training. Um, I think the next frontier for the restaurant industry, if it wants to compete hard, is it needs to empower its people in the restaurants to sell more services to their customers.
So
Um, yeah,
it's an interesting challenge. I think
yeah,
during COVID, I think most restaurants across the board got used to online orders. They got
yeah,
used
yeah,
to,
yeah,
DoorDash is coming and picking it up. It's leaving the restaurant. We're not even seeing the customer. We're not interacting with the customer. And it's definitely a change where now that delivery is expensive, when you
yeah,
order out, you're just getting a regular meal, people are coming back in.
yeah,
They're showing up in the restaurant. They're saying hello. They're
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
ordering more because they're like, oh, it's costing me so much less than my
Yeah.
DoorDash order that I'm going to try something new. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a great opportunity for us to make the changes industry wide.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir, Claudia, because I mean, you've been working these catering sales forever, so you know what I know, which is if you roll up your sleeves, you get back in your community, you talk to people, you do more tastings, guess what happens? You get more business, right? That's what happens.
Absolutely.
And so I'm always like going like, why hasn't this industry adopted that yet? Like, why? I mean, how many restaurants are you in total between Chopped and Dos Toros?
We're about 120 between the
Yeah,
two.
you're 120 restaurants, you're a team of five,
Oh, it's
you know?
what we've done is amazing.
Yeah, amazing,
I am
amazing.
blown away by the team that I have.
Yeah,
But we do operate old school. We pick up the phone.
yeah,
We do things, I always say we take the opportunities where they present themselves. So
yeah, 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 yeah,
no restaurant is perfect. There are
yeah,
always catering mistakes that can happen.
yeah,
If there's a catering mistake, that's the opportunity for us to
yeah,
get
yeah,
in
yeah.
and really talk
To
to a customer,
totally, totally,
recover them, make them a customer for life, do something great
totally,
for them.
totally. But what I'm talking about is the sales funnel. So
Oh,
I'm going, if we can unlock, like if Reve, who does our training, who helps with our training and stuff, this is what she does, right? Like if you can unlock going into the restaurant, 120 restaurants, let's just say, or let's say half of them, 60 of them, and you can get in there and through some hybrid training experience, through maybe some in-person training for sales training, as well as maybe online support and continuing education, actually giving them sales skills with a clear call to action and outcome. Okay. And the outcome in this case is, I'm Cloudy. Come on, man. Send me your, like, send me all your, I've got a team of five here. We're just waiting for all this stuff to come in. And I need your help in actually getting stuff to come in. Right.
well,
And
my standard line to restaurants, it's a little crass. I'm like, I'm not driving the bus with all the
yeah,
sales on it and
yeah,
then dropping them off.
yeah,
Guess what? Like, we need help. And it comes from
yeah,
every aspect. And, a lot of the restaurants, your operators know what's around
yeah,
them. They know the
yeah,
big
yeah.
companies. They know who they see every day. They
Training,
know,
training.
they know,
We need one one sales ambassador per location.
I love that.
We give them some training. You pay them an extra 50 cents an hour on their wages or whatever it is. They get the responsibility. Maybe you work some, comp or bonus program or something fun for them. Every lead is $1 maybe or something like a game. You gamify it, okay? And you really double down on the training, giving them the skills, right? Because when you go to the store and it's a store opening, you stand in line and you ask people, do you cater? Do you cater? But that's you. That's because
True.
you have the skills, So giving people those skills so that you can scale it up and rinse and repeat. And I my recommendation for what it's worth.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's move on to some other things. So systems wise, like ordering and all that kind of stuff. How are you guys managing that world?
So our online ordering is powered through Lunchbox,
Yeah,
which is great. With a lot more presence. When I began this position almost 3 years ago, we
yeah,
did not have online ordering. It was the
mm,
first thing we went in and we changed,
right.
and it's amazing the uptick. You have a new generation of customers that
Yeah, yeah.
don't
Just
want to
want to order
talk to
one.
you. You just want
Yeah,
to go
totally.
online and order it. I would say we've expanded our third parties that we work
Mm,
with. I think
okay,
that's been exceptionally helpful,
good.
which is amazing. Obviously, you have a sales team that physically reaches out and jumps in and does things as well. But for the most part, I would say between online presence and our
Yeah,
marketing team,
yeah.
those systems work really well.
Okay.
So even just looking at something, like our database of customers, we can look at it. We can look at a customer's profile and we can
Yeah,
say, okay, they're a Chop customer and they're a Dos Toros customer
got
and
it.
they're a catering customer. That's
Okay.
great. They fit the ecosystems,
Yeah.
but are they doing group orders?
Hmm.
So there's always something extra I can add in. and I'm
Right.
looking for.
So you can't get that
And
info. You can't get some information you need at the moment.
oh yeah, we work. I think we're pretty data driven on what we're seeing,
Yeah, of course.
and we're using it smartly.
Okay, good. Wonderful. And so you found a balance between your third-party marketplace partners, your first-party transactions. Um, let's talk a little bit about setting your team up for success. You're a leader. You have some people reporting. What are the things like? What are some of the secrets you might want to share with us, Claudie?
So I would say a couple things. Obviously, our main goal for the team is sales growth.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the same page. That is the overarching goal. I think with my team, I've really developed them to understand the effect that sales has on every aspect on the business. So my team knows that, a restaurant might not be able to hire a dishwasher if they don't have the sales.
Yeah.
A district manager, it affects them too. It affects everybody. It's not
Yeah.
just the bottom line on catering sales.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that understanding and you have the empathy for the rest of the organization, I think it changes your approach considerably. I'm a pretty collaborative leader. So generally, I believe in giving my sales team a meaningful voice. I want them to be part of our decision-making process. I encourage them to mentor, our junior team members and really focus on building this, unified cross-functional team rather than working in a silo. Our team is not in competition with each other. We work together. I would also say part of it is I'm a little bit more involved on the ops side and looking at, the customer perception of the food, the packaging, our systems, like a whole ecosystem. And I think that really helps us determine how we're selling, where we're selling, what we're doing
Yeah.
as we grow. Because we want to be consistent. We want to be that brand where you can get the same catering order if you're in Alabama or New York City.
Right. Amazing. Amazing. And so, as you think through, those elements, Claudia, the future of catering, certainly the brand you're at now, what is your vision? What would happen there?
My vision, I would say my overall vision right now is I want consistency on orders. I want everything. I want flawless operational work. Once you're flawless in your operations, it is very easy to sell because you've built your reputation.
Right.
And it's one thing I say to my team all the time, your reputation is everything.
Yes.
I have a great story for you. I worked for a brand a number of years ago, and I randomly came across a client, who I think I'd worked with. I wasn't sure. I called her and she was like, "Oh, I remember exactly where you worked. I remember working with you.
Oh.
I liked working with you. You were detailed. You solved my problems." That is a piece, that is a nugget that goes with you everywhere. Your reputation is everything.
100%.
So I think that to me is the piece that I love, and I want to make sure we have that integrity across the way we represent ourselves on both brands.
So what are the kinds of things you need to do and invest in to make sure that you get that outcome?
So it's investing in the people.
Yeah.
It really is. It's making sure that operationally the teams have what they need.
Yeah.
They've got training, they've got the right packaging, they understand a customer's expectation. On the sales side, it's making sure that they can trust the operators.
Right.
If you trust the operators, you can sell like crazy. I know when I've interviewed for other jobs, like if I didn't believe in a concept, I couldn't work for them.
Right.
That's my integrity. That's just who I am.
No, you're putting your personal reputation online. So if you make a commitment and somebody doesn't deliver the order, it reflects on you, right?
That's exactly it.
Well, that's ownership. That's true leadership, true ownership.
So what I really see for us is I see exponential growth.
Yeah.
I would like to be having this conversation with you in a couple of years and say, guess what? We're 50%.
Okay. Well, there we go.
All
right. We're going to get it on the calendar right now, Claudie. That's what we're going to do.
I love that. I'm in.
Okay. Awesome. So before we wrap up today, is there anything else you want to share? Maybe where can people find you? Are you looking for some new catering sales talent, or, what is your, put it out there, whatever it is.
What we're doing right now is, our team is small. I am hoping to grow our team. The other thing about it too is I want to grow our team, but I also want to grow our team with, folks who want to learn.
Yeah.
Folks who want to be part of the system, that are not just single-minded. I'm making my commission. I'm going. I want someone who's going to come in and teach us something. So what I've said to my team is, it doesn't matter how old you are, how experienced you are. We all learn something new every single day. And I feel like everyone on a team should have a voice to be able to give an opinion, an idea. The best ideas are internal at the end of the day. But what I would really love, if anyone has a customer they want to recommend to us, with either brand, we're a great resource. And I'd love the referrals. That's what it comes down to. As much as, we work in all these competing brands, at the end of the day, I know if a customer says to me, I'm ordering 5 days a week. I'm going to do 2 days a week from your brands. They've got 3 more days. I will refer out. I'll say, these are the brands that I love. I know they do a great job. I know they're reliable. And that is what I'd love to really get into with, my peers, my colleagues, just really putting it out there that there's enough in the pie for all of us.
Oh, for sure. For
100%.
Sure. Wonderful. Well, Claudie, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you for making time for us.
And that's the match. For the fight for off-premises greatness never stops. So tune in next week for more Catering Cage action. When our challenger steps into the ring, new contender, fresh strategy, same no-holds-barred arena. We'll see you back in the Catering Cage.